Please rise for the graduating class of 2025. Please be seated. Good afternoon, Elsa High School. Good afternoon, parents, colleagues, friends, family, everybody joining us from across the globe in the live stream. But most importantly, good afternoon, graduates. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here today to celebrate Carmel School Elsa High School's 13th graduation commencement ceremony. To start things off, please welcome to the mic from the graduating class of 2025, Luca Cohen-Demani giving this year's Devar Torah.
This week's parasha is Parasha Bechach Bechukotai. This parasha takes place on Mount Sinai, as Moshe is told of the sabbatical year, the 7th year during which the land is not to be worked on, and all of its produce is to be free for the taking. God then tells Moshe of the Jubilee year, the 50th year, which follows 7 cycles of 7 years. During this year, the laws of the sabbatical year are followed. Indentured servants are freed, and land returns to its original owner. To conclude the parasha, God then prohibits fraud and usury, reminding us to deal in business honestly. The day of graduation is a direct parallel to the sabbatical year. We have worked tirelessly for years, and now we may finally rest before another cycle starts. We must now enjoy the next few months of freedom before we commence another cycle, university. We must treat this break as our sabbatical year, and rest, celebrating the work we have done throughout our DP journey. However, the sabbatical is also a herald of a future cycle of hard work, which we will endure in university. And so it is important, as we begin to transition to the professional world, that we remember the commandments that God gave Moshe in this parasha. You must not cheat one another. Despite the potential gains that dishonest business practices may bring, it is important to remain both honest and honorable, as to follow the 8th commandment of you shall not steal. Although this is an important concept to keep in mind, we are ultimately here to commemorate our high school journey, the hardships we have endured, the work we put in, and importantly, our teachers who have helped us through it all. Much like Moshe communicated God's commandments to Jewish people, our teachers have shared with us their understanding of the subjects we chose, and have allowed us to thrive in DP, and hopefully to succeed in our exams. And so, as we enter our sabbatical summer, let us enjoy a well-earned period of rest, but let us also learn from this parasha and prepare for the next cycle of work, approaching it with the integrity and honesty God commands in this parasha. Mazal tov for the class of 2025, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Luca. Well said. For this year's commencement, we thought we'd do things a little bit differently. And so, please help me welcome to the mic, from the class of 2025, the dynamic duo, Tamir Razan and Jack Diestel.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and thank you to Luca for such a good Vartorah that Jack might finally keep Shabbat.
It really will. And now, please welcome the chairman of the school board, Mr. Jonathan Zeman, to give a message to the graduates.
Thank you. Welcome, Mrs. Friedman, graduating class of 2025. Proud parents, students, faculty, administrators, rabbis, trustees, Mr. Dorfman, and Consul General of Israel. I didn't have much time to prepare my speech in advance. I work. Of course, I thought of using AI. These days there's ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and other things. Lots of other tools that have suddenly come into our lives. Now, AI is a great tool. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether or not I used it to write my speech. Students, you're entering a quickly changing world of new tools, new technologies, new scientific breakthroughs, and a myriad of other factors that are quickly changing the way we live, work, and play. For some of you, it might feel overwhelming. For me, sometimes it does. And for some of you, it might feel all the more exciting. But I can tell you, we're all in the same boat. A few tips from myself on how to face this future. Technology, science, business, society, they're all giving us these new tools. The key is to master the tools. Master AI, embrace it. At some point, AI will ideally be doing the work for you, and then you just become the orchestrator, ideally. In another case, AI is controlling us and we're doing the work, but I'm going for the first case. But really, you don't need to know everything out there these days. You need to build your toolbox. Just like a carpenter fills her toolbox with a hammer, a saw, a plane, sandpaper, and other key tools, the same for you. Build your toolbox, make sure you're always on the lookout and ready to embrace new tools, new skills, new technologies that come into our lives. These tools, they're all essential. And the tools include basic skills like self-discipline, time management, project management. Sometimes tools could be professional skills like coding. One thing's for sure, now compared to when I was wearing my own cap and gown at my own graduation in 1994, knowledge and facts, they're all at your fingertips. You can Google it, you can search it up, and now you can get AI-generated answers and even deep research. So the world does not really need someone who knows it all. Of course, it's helpful to know things, to have knowledge, but what's more important as you move forward in your academic career and personal lives is to know how to be a good human, how to be a good person. Humans are complicated. Society is complex, but having a strong moral compass to keep you on the right path is essential to making you into a happy and successful person. The other thing that is sure in this fast-changing world is the value of mastering human interpersonal skills. In work, school, and personal life, we all need to deal daily with different people. God made humans social creatures. Doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we all need to work together, and that includes working with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and personalities, and ways of thinking. So knowing how to connect with each other, find common goals and consensus is the key to success in life. Remember, AI can write your speech for you. It can even deliver your speech for you, but it can't connect with humans. And that's one of the keys to success, whether it's in leadership, management, or other positions. It's a challenging time in the world. It's a challenging time for Israel and Jews globally. Tragic events of October 7th in Israel, due to this, choosing a university in most parts of the world is not easy for those with Jewish backgrounds or their supporters. Making new friends and discussing sensitive topics is certainly even more difficult than it was. Thanks to your education here at Carmel School, you've developed a deep understanding of the Jewish world, a moral foundation built on Jewish values, and hopefully a strong Jewish identity, or a strong identity as a human with responsibilities to this world. These are some of the most valuable things that any student can learn, and these are the foundations of the house that you're building. In addition to this, these Jewish values at Carmel School, you've been given the gift of learning through inquiry in the unique IB program. You've had teachers teaching you out of the box thinking and teaching you to think for yourselves, I hope. And you've learned how to learn. You have a unique education, you've had unique educational visit experiences around Asia and in the world. And you've learned new way of design thinking through STEAM and had hands-on exposure to things like robotics and plastics recycling. Thank you, Jacopo. You've learned timelessness of Jewish values and the Torah, Jewish Bible. You've learned that it is here, it is a manual for life covering every eventuality. So, with these reminders, I want to wish you all Mazel Tov and congratulations on the milestone and achievement of your graduation, and wish you all the best in building your toolboxes in your next chapter. Here's to much more happiness and success, and don't forget to let me know later if this was AI generated or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zeman, for your inspirational words and for your ongoing work that you do for the school.
Now it is time to hear from our guest speaker, someone who has generously joined with us and is here to share their wisdom and experiences.
Our guest speaker is Professor Brian Wong. Professor Wong is an assistant professor in philosophy at Hong Kong University. His research examines the intersection of geopolitics, political and moral philosophy, and technology, with particular interest in the ethics and dynamics of authoritarian regimes and their foreign policies, responding to historical and colonial injustices and the impact of automation on labor and human societies.
Brian is also a fellow at the newly established Center on Contemporary China and the World at the University of Hong Kong. As the Chief Strategy Officer of the HKASEAN Foundation, he advises multinational corporations, family offices, and leading think tanks on geopolitical affairs and macro risk throughout Asia. Having co-founded and served as the inaugural editor-in-chief at the Oxford Public Political Review, a publication aspiring to bridge the theory-practice gap, Brian also serves as a columnist at the Hong Kong Economic Journal. Please give a warm welcome to Professor Brian Wong.
Mrs. Friedman, class of 2025, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. 10 years ago, I missed my graduation ceremony, so it really does feel great to be enjoying it vicariously. I missed my graduation while I was attending a debating competition, and for which I drew the consternation and ire of my principal and the senior leadership team at my school. In the same year, I also drew the ire of many of my peers in my same cohort. I lost quite a lot of friends. I became known and castigated for someone who harbored controversial political opinions, all because my views back then in relation to the events in Hong Kong in 2014 differed from the mainstream in my year, in my generation, and my cohort. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in an era where we want to be approved, to be liked, to be applauded, to be recognized. And yet the theme of my speech today is about the courage of being disliked. And ultimately, the message is rather simple. I think it's imperative that we do what is right, as opposed to do what is liked. And on that front, I would like to share with you 3 questions I ended up asking myself in 2014, but also in 2019, And again, more recently, over many of the writings I put out, or the research I undertake, and the thinking that I do and try to communicate, I ask myself 3 questions when faced with a barrage of critics, of cynics and skeptics. What are these 3 questions that have served as my guiding North Star? Well, the first is, do these criticisms matter? Because it's often the case that we think criticisms matter because we think being disliked is a bad thing. But it's unclear why that is, in fact, the case. You ask yourself, right? If someone says, I don't like you, does that therefore reflect badly upon you? Does that reflect poorly upon your character? Does that change whom you are as a person and the good deeds you've done and the service you've engaged in the communities to which you belong? None of that ultimately necessarily matters 90% of the time. Because the people who dislike you may dislike you for the pettiest of reasons. May dislike you for the most arbitrary of factors. May target you and unjustly discriminate against you, not because it's your fault, but because it's theirs. And so the first question I ask myself is, do they really matter? Now, some of my students would say, oh, they do. They might affect my job prospects, or if I can get into this good school, or what if I'm not invited to this dinner and garden party, or this drink session at this really popular guys or girls, after school party. But today I say, so what? Because there's always another party if there's one that disinvites you. When one door closes, another does open. When one friendship group chooses to walk away from you because of something you say or you do, if what you did was right and correct, there will always be other friends who come for you and come to you. And that is why my conclusion in answering this question is no, they do not often matter. But then there are cases where we have really deep personal ties and bonds, as Jonathan talked about just then. And in fact, I wanted to talk about AI in my speech, but because of his speech, I changed the contents of my speech rather last minute. And don't tell anyone I said that, okay? But the deep and personal bonds we forge with others, sometimes it can be quite hard if your best friend says, I don't want to be friends with you anymore because of your views, because of your opinions, because of your values. I don't like you anymore. And it hurts. It cuts deep. So what do? I think the key there is to tell ourselves, or ask ourselves, should it be that these friends matter to us? Because true friendship should transcend the contingent beliefs, the words and expressions and gestures. True friendship should be fundamentally rooted in the heart, in the soul, in not your mind, but your emotions. And if your friend would walk away from you because of what you've chosen to do, then chances are they're not your real friends. They're only your fair weather friends who have managed to disguise themselves for a very long while. And that is why the second question, should they matter? I would say they probably don't if they choose to go against you and turn against you at your most vulnerable. But that ties me on to the final question that I always ask myself, especially in the shower or when I'm marking the 110th essay for my student who probably used ChatGPT, much to my chagrin. And that is, what matters in life? Wealth? Power? Status? Honor? Facebook likes? Instagram followers numbers? Maybe. But none of these stays. None of these holds on to and clings on to the rivers of life as ultimately the passion that we feel inside us. What matters is a question that we should ask, but we don't ask nearly as often as we should. Because ultimately, what really matters in my view in an era of artificiality and artificial intelligence is our vulnerability, is our fear of the unknown, is our fear of failure, is our angst and anger and agony and all these negative emotions that we want to suppress, that we try to suppress. But in watching Thunderbolts, you might remember a line if you've watched it, or you haven't. I have, that ultimately the darkest and the most vulnerable aspects of ourselves cannot be suppressed, but nor should they be embraced. Instead, we should learn to accept that there are vulnerabilities in ourselves that we have to coexist with and contend with, because that's what ultimately makes us human. It is not our beauty, it is not our ability to live in peace because we can't, but is instead our ability to embrace authentically our vulnerable and real selves. That's what sets us apart from the best AI models and chatbots out there. And it is for that reason that I'd like to thank a gentleman just then who taught me a very valuable lesson. When faced with the unknown, it is tempting to say we shouldn't fear it. But why not say, yes, we can fear it, and it's perfectly okay, because that fear will not define whom we are, and it certainly cannot and must not define our future. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Professor Wong, for your inspiring and thought-provoking words. I am 100% sure that these 3 questions that you've proposed will stick with us throughout the rest of our lives.
Up next, we're excited to introduce a special treat from our talented grade 5 class.
Please give them a warm round of applause as they take the stage.
summer's gone now. Cartwheels turn to bar wheels through the town. And they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now. Till you drag your feet and slow the circles down.
And the seasons
Let's have another round of applause for this good crowd. Thank you, grade 5 students, for showing your talents to us. It was very, very good. We enjoyed it.
Now, Tamir, me, and many other of our fellow graduates have been born and raised in Hong Kong. Some of us even going through the entire Carmel education, pre-K to grade 12.
Actually, fun fact, I joined Carmel School a year before Jack.
On the slightest technicality, Tamir. All right. Anyways, we would like to invite Tali and Ella to reminisce over our Carmel School experience.
Three fried brain cells, a lot of caffeine, and a few too many absent days later, we made it.
And it feels surreal standing here together, not just as classmates, but as two best friends who have known each other since we could barely hold a pencil, let alone write an extended essay.
We went from playing tag in Bort Road,
To camping in Outward Bound, riding roller coasters in Shanghai,
ziplining in Chiang Mai, and roaming around Tel Aviv.
walking through history in Poland, and karaoke with the teachers in Nepal.
For some of us, being here over a decade, Elsa has become more than just a school. It's become a second home. But let's be honest, this journey, it's been more like a roller coaster. IA after IA, test after test, exam after exam, all-nighters, breakdowns, endless to-do lists. We've been through it.
We've joked, we've panicked, we've laughed, we've crammed. But most importantly, we've survived, and we made it through. None of it was easy, but what got us through it, through the highs and lows, was each other.
Having each other's backs, lifting one another up, whether it was through humor, pep talks, or just a much-needed hug. It was those small moments of support that brought us here, together today.
But of course, we didn't do this alone.
None of this would have been possible without the teachers who have been there by our side, supporting us every step of the way.
To the teachers who hold a special place in our hearts ever since we were young, Miss Gao, Miss Boo, Mr. Al, Mr. Cunningham, Orly, and to Miss Robin, whose constant reassurance made exams and deadlines feel a little less daunting and always putting our needs before her own.
To Mr. Darrell, who stuck with us through it all, from our senior year burnouts to our 7th grade nonsense.
To Miss Jane for always being online, all the bio jokes, arts and craft models as Gil calls it, and endless Google chats. You taught us more than just cells and systems.
To Mr. Donnelly, whose staple, fine, just admit it after the weekend, gave us a little more second chances than we probably deserved.
To Miss Egress, who made sure we always knew the latest economic news, even if half the time we're just figuring it out a minute before class.
To Mr. Ford, who helped us navigate the uncertainty of college in the future.
And of course, to Miss Freeman, who's seen us grow year by year, kept the whole place running.
You believed in us and helped us believe in ourselves.
As we all part our separate ways, we know that goodbyes are never easy, especially if the bonds you built feel like family.
But if there's one thing we learned, besides how to push through in the face of adversity, it's that everything is temporary. But memories, they last forever. Stress comes and goes, exams end.
And yes, believe it or not, 6 months ago, Ella and Tali, design IAs eventually get submitted. Class of 2025, here's to late night partying, the last minute cramming, the laughs, the tears, and everything in between.
Class of 2025, we did it. Here's to the finish line that felt impossible, and to the future that's ours to create.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ella and Tali, for your heartfelt and meaningful reflection of our Carmel education. While it is always important to look back at who we were, it is also important to look forward with hope and excitement into who we can become.
Representing the graduating class, Alex and Hinako will now share their vision of the future, as well as how we're going to face our greatest challenge yet, living on our own. Welcome.
Good afternoon, students, faculty, members of the board, parents, and most importantly, the class of 2025. When we were asked to do this speech, we were told, talk about the future. Easy, we thought. Just say something motivational, toss in how we're all going to change the world, and boom, we have a speech. But truthfully, I have no idea what lies ahead, not a clue.
Me neither. The future used to feel like something you could plan for. Now, it feels more like something you have to figure out as you go.
If Carmel has given us anything, it's not a roadmap, but a toolkit. We've learned how to live with not knowing. But that's exactly what Carmel taught us, Tikkun Olam. Starts with showing up to repair the world, even when you don't have all the answers.
And maybe that's why our class works. Somehow in a group where we have people like Tamir, who's basically been a Carmel local since he was born, and me, who's been in Elsa for 3 years, and we've managed to build something real. We became a group that could argue, disagree, and still have each other's backs.
We're not a class that fits into a neat label. We're tight-knit, but we're also independent. We care about grades, but we care more about each other. We know how to work hard, but we also know when it's time to laugh at ourselves.
Now we're all going to go our separate ways and walk into a future that's messier than ever.
Rising anti-Semitism,
Rapid changes in technology,
radicalization.
polarization.
For everyone, there's uncertainty. We're being asked to build a future in a world that sometimes feels like it's coming apart. And yet we're here. We're still showing up, still asking what it means to make the world a better place. Not just in theory, but in practice.
And honestly, I think that's what sets our class apart. We're not satisfied with just looking good on paper. We care about what happens next, about who we become and what we build together, even when no one's looking.
It's not enough to be the class with the highest predicted grades, or to be the class with the best jokes. What matters is what we do when things get real, when the world asks us to step up.
So yes, you're looking at future doctors, lawyers, engineers, and business leaders. But what does that really mean? Titles alone don't fix anything. The world doesn't need more perfect resumes. It needs people ready to do the actual work of Tikkun Olam, even when it's uncomfortable or complicated.
The future is uncertain, but we'll move forward the way Carmel taught us, anchored by honesty, grit, and each other.
We don't have all the answers, but we know how to ask better questions and how to keep trying, even when things are uncertain.
We know that not knowing isn't a weakness, it's where the most important work begins. And we know we're prepared even when the map isn't clear.
So no, we don't know what lies ahead, but we do know we're ready to help make the world a better place, one uncertain step at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex and Hinako, for your inspiring words about the future, and thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it. Anyway, hopefully we're able to keep our strong connection, all of us, in the future as we venture to the four corners of the earth. Next, we have the pleasure of hearing from someone who's been a guiding force for me and for the whole class throughout the whole time we've been at this school.
Please join us in welcoming Mrs. Freeman to share her thoughts and congratulations.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Tamir. Welcome everyone to this wonderful occasion, the graduation ceremony for the class of 2025, 5785. Rabbonim, Israel Consul General Amialati, Mr. Robert Dorfman, Chair of the Ohel Synagogue Charity, and OLS trustees, Professor Brian Wong, our keynote speaker. Thank you, Brian, for your very powerful and thought-provoking words today. Elementary head, Mrs. Nitzan Levy, Carmel School COO, Ms. Anna Wong, honoured guests, and I must take a pause here for a moment and remember Dr. Raphael Aharoni of blessed memory, a generous and active supporter of Carmel School who always attended this event. We miss you, Rafi. Welcome to Carmel School faculty, to the administration, to the Elsa section student body, and of course, our wonderful graduating class, and you, parents and families of our graduating class. A special thank you to the organizing group of graduates' parents who've created this absolutely wonderful decor and the supplementary celebratory events for students this year. Very special thank you. Once again, I am keenly aware on this special day of the privilege and joy that I feel on a day-to-day basis to lead this exceptional school and to work so closely and so harmoniously with so many talented people. Senior leaders, head of elementary, Nitzan, Anna, our talented and dedicated COO, Elsa Vice Principal Kyle, Preschool Coordinator Annabelle, Holly Row Faye Coordinators Hagit and Dorothy, Elsa Senior Team Robin, Adam, Christy, Learning Enhancement Coordinator Kirsten, Elsa faculty here today, our grade 12 teachers, so nice that you mentioned each and every one, Carmel Elementary, Preschool, our wonderful choir that we heard from grade 5. And thank you very, very much to our wonderful music teachers. Thank you, Celia. Thank you, Yvonne. Yvonne, we will miss you. Our energetic and proactive board, led by inspired and active Chair Jonathan Zeman, and our wonderfully committed and proactive PTA, led by Emma Lavin and Anna Berman. Thank you, each and every one, for making a difference at Carmel School. It's a privilege to work with you. A special thank you and farewell to Rochelle Saban for your tireless work on the board and on the PTA. I'm going to ask you to forgive me if I swivel, because I really now need to speak to these graduates. It appears easy to describe a school through its mission statement, its vision, its ethos, its profile. Yet to truly capture the essence of a school, one has to see it in action, to interact proactively and regularly with all working parts, students, faculty, admin, parent body. Only then can one truly appreciate the nature of a learning establishment, its core philosophy, its standards, its aims, and then subsequently its achievements. Graduating class of 2025, 5 of you have been part of that essence of Carmel School and the Elsa High School section learning process from Ganeinu. Yes, that means from age 1 or 2. 2 of you joined Carmel Elementary at the age of 5 and 8, respectively. And the rest of you joining at different points on the Carmel Elsa journey. In this respect alone, you are an exceptional grade, but also in several other respects. Not least, your academic prowess, your personal growth, which I have been witness to and privileged to witness, attainment and achievements, your emotional strength and well-being, your care for each other, for your peers, respect for everyone you've interacted with in the school community, your appreciation of your heritage, of Jewish values and practices, and so much more. You know I could go on and on. As Rabbi Sachs tells us, Hashem gave us an algorithm. Never mind all that stuff. Let's go back to basics. An algorithm, the Torah. And through the acceptance of and adherence to the tenets of the Torah, turns the Jewish people into the most remarkable, tenacious, fate-defying, something so sadly true and clear to all of us every day since October the 7th, 2023, and carrying on daily. The most tenacious, fate-defying people the world has ever known. I'd like to take a few minutes, with Rabbi Sachs's help, to focus on what you now need and how exceptionally well-armed I believe you to be going forward on life's journey. Class of 2025, you're about to embark on the next chapter. Each of you has plans and dreams, and you will need certain skills and characteristics in order to thrive and succeed. You've heard a lot today about that. We've talked about the future. Just bear with me and focus a little bit on these specifics. Rabbi Sachs tells us that you will need to strengthen key relationships. As your teachers and I have repeatedly shown you, you cannot do it on your own. And you referred to that. You haven't done it on your own. You've responded by heeding our advice and showing achdut, unity, in your grades, with your teachers, and with younger students, befriending them and mentoring them to an admirable degree. Number 2, all success depends on habits of discipline and willpower. You've heard about that from other speakers today. Class of 2025, you have excelled in this area. Students, take note. Working on yourselves, learning the true meaning of failing well, and continuously surprising us with the extent of your self-discipline, willpower to persist, bounce back, and overcome. Number 3, happiness and avoiding burnout, says Rabbi Sachs, is a matter of gratitude. Thank before you think, something you have been doing from the beginning. And keep Shabbat, maintain a work-life balance, ignore those phones for at least 24 hours a week. The reward you will reap from that will be immeasurable. Develop your sense of identity. Know who you are and ensure you have developed an internal moral code. That's something else that I've seen you do this last couple of years. An inner voice that says no when necessary. You have taken advantage of the teachings here at Carmel School. You have taken them to heart. You've benefited both from the formal and the informal Jewish life and learning at the school. Okay, it's no coincidence, and Luca, you spoke about what I'm going to speak about. As I've told you so often, and I know that in assembly you hear me say it again and again, and I'll carry on saying it, this week's Parsha is extraordinarily, and specifically relevant to this event and to you, class of 2025. Parashat Behar talks about Shemitah, a 7-year cycle, as you told us, Luca, where we lay the land fallow for a year every 7 years. The 7-year cycle reflects our understanding and appreciation that everything comes from Hashem, from God. You, class of 2025, are the cohort, as Mr. Ford said, that can make Carmel School's Elsa High School section proud to announce that today, with you, we are celebrating our bar mitzvah of graduations. You are our 13th graduating cohort, and as such, we enter our second Shemitah. The principle of use, not abuse, is exemplified by Shemitah, because we work the land and then we rest the land. A good example is crop rotation cycles, now universally employed. Everything we have comes from Hashem, from God, from the wheat grown in the fields to the bread on our table. The lesson we learn from Shmita is balance. Balance yourselves, prioritizing your own well-being alongside pursuing your contribution to the world. Being cognizant of such blessings means we have to stop, to pause, to reflect, and to trust. When we do this, the blessings continue to flow, not just to sustain us in the previous cycle, but also for the next cycle. You all know that you have been particularly close to my heart. It has been a pleasure to see you grow and develop. It has been a pleasure to see you physically grow. You two are a good example of seeing you physically grow. I respect you, and I will miss you all very, very much. My blessing to you, class of 2025, is to remember that facing the hard challenges, as you've heard today, we're all united in our message. Facing the hard challenges in life will empower you to overcome them and to feel most vividly alive. That growing and empowering yourselves through struggle will change you in a way that will then empower you to change the world. As Rabbi Sachs says, be true to your faith and a blessing unto others. Mazel tov.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Friedman, for that amazing speech and for always being there to guide and to calm us down throughout our high school journey.
Finally, behind every one of us graduates, there's a parent that supports, encourages, and nags us with unconditional love and support and care.
To give a message to all the proud parents here today, we would now like to invite Baruch to share a testimony of thanks.
Before I begin, I'd like to ask everyone, so please forgive me if I start crying. I'm just kidding. Good morning, students, faculty, members of the board, the class of 2025, and most importantly, parents. Today, as we come together for the ceremony, we stand at a crossroad we've all looked forward to, yet find ourselves wishing for just a little more time. The journey that brought us here today wasn't one we made alone. Along the way, there have been people, sometimes quiet, in my case, usually the loudest person in the room, whose consistent presence makes a difference in ways we might not always notice. I'm talking, of course, about our parents. It's easy to miss the small sacrifices that happen out of sight. Our parents have a way of putting us first, even when we don't realize it. They choose to give up things for themselves so that we can move ahead. They work and worry, not for reward, but for the hope that we'll have more than they do. It's mysterious how much they care about our achievements, often more than their own. We might never fully grasp how much they've given up, or maybe we're not supposed to. However, as we celebrate today, it's worth remembering that we're here because of the plethora our parents did that no one else saw. The parents of the class of 2025, we notice, even if we don't always say it. Your support, even when quiet or behind the scenes, made a difference. You've given us more than we can repay. As we move forward, we carry part of your hopes and your belief in us into whatever comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, Arush, for speaking on behalf of the whole class, beautifully portraying the class's shared gratitude towards their parents. We love you guys.
We would now like to bring back Mr. Kyle Ford to help present us with our diplomas.
Let's have a round of applause for our MCs. Okay, now the moment we have all been waiting for. Photographers get in place. Okay, graduates, please rise to receive your diplomas. As I call your name, please step forward to receive your diploma, okay? All graduates stand. From the graduating class of 2025, Mr. Arush Banerjee. Natalie White. Charlotte Yim. Charlotte Yim, one more time. Mr. Richard Tsang. Elena Tong. Luca Cohen Dumani. Elia Elba. Mr. Yoav Asor. Kate Chua. Mr. Mac Tang. Miss Hinako Nishi. Mr. Alex Wiggessa. Miss Ella Goldberg. Miss Tali Mayodan. Mr. Tamir Razon. And last but not least, Mr. Jack Tisto. And Arush is back on stage because we missed the photo. All right. All right. And I would like to now invite our guests and our principal, Ms. Friedman, to take a seat in the audience as the parents have prepared a little treat for us. Mr. Darrell, if you could close the blinds at the back. Graduates, please rise for the turning of the tassels.
by the power vested in me by the Carmel School Board, I invite you to move your tassels from right to left as a symbolic gesture of commencement. Move your tassels from right to left. You are now officially the Carmel School Elsa High School Section graduating class of 2025. Wonderful! Wonderful!
Now, if you all stay standing, we will play Hatikva, which will be followed by a reception for the graduates, parents, and friends, and the faculty in the back. Okay, thank you everybody for coming to graduation of the class of 2025.